Hi everyone, Teddy Baldassarre from teddybaldassarre.com, and in this video we're looking at a watch from Rado with the new overpull. So in this video and on this channel we cover watches available for purchase on our website, teddybaldassarre.com, as a full authorized dealer. So in this video, deep dive on this timepiece, final points of consideration at the end, but also throughout this video, if you have further questions, check out the link in the description to the product page where you can learn more, book a time with one of our dedicated watch specialists, as well as, of course, purchase the watch. But guys, let's jump into the video, take a closer look at this watch. Since the recent reemergence of the Captain Cook within Rado's modern catalog in 2017, the humble heritage diver has spawned a wide range of color and size variations, as well as even a ceramic case option. For 2022, Rado again dipped into its archive and unveiled something more traditional, a new Captain Cook variant based on a smaller 37mm case format and optimized for world timer functionality. The new overpull takes its inspiration from an early 1960s model that similarly combined the existing Captain Cook case and bezel architecture, but added dial markings and a bezel insert to allow for time-telling needs of the rapidly evolving business traveler of the day. The modern overpull does an impressive job of staying close to the original design while integrating a few key technical upgrades that bring this heritage model squarely into the modern era. Starting with a conversation on the case and wearing experience presented by this watch, it's important to remember that this is essentially just the 37mm Captain Cook with a different dial and bezel. The 37mm diameter paired with a 43mm lug-to-lug are unchanged, though the thickness has been reined in a bit to 10.5mm from the standard 11.1mm metric. Taking those measurements into account, the overpull by modern standards is a relatively small watch. I would say wears closer to a 36mm when factoring in that external bezel on the outside. And unlike the standard Captain Cook, this smaller option is the only option. So you'll want to either be someone with a small wrist or just very comfortable with more vintage style dimensions to get into the fun presented by this watch. Completing the wearing experience is a pair of strap options that come as standard with this model in a signed leather pouch and can easily be interchanged with the quick release functionality at 19mm lugs. There is a brown leather strap with rugged hand stitching at the lugs, as well as Rado's standard beads of rice bracelet. Both are well done and reasonably strong for the price, though the bracelet and others within this model family do lack proper micro adjustment capabilities within the clasp. Probably my number one pet peeve when it comes to Rado bracelets, because otherwise they are exceptional. In any case, getting those two straps and a travel case with the watch is a nice bonus, especially given the aftermarket challenges associated with this odd number lug sizing. Now, case architecture is traditional with sharp angles at the lugs that are demarcated a bit from the vertical case flanks, with an anchor signed 5.4mm push-pull crown at 3. For me, given the crown size and the position almost under the bezel, which extends out over the central case, the crown is a bit difficult to manipulate compared to some other hand-winding watches. Between the crown and the screw-down exhibition case back, the watch is capable of 100 meters of water resistance, making this a fairly capable design, but likely not the first choice that you're going to have for hardcore aquatic needs. Speaking to the bezel, we have the same slightly canted insert traveling down from the bezel's coin edge, complete with a laser-engraved ceramic insert that pairs with the dial to provide a measure of world time capability. Going hard after the vintage theme, the watch case is polished pretty much everywhere you look, a factor that will probably likely lead to this model to show more wear over time, but it does fall nicely in line with the Mad Men era that inspired this watch's design. Again, turning our attention to the watch's front-facing surface, we are treated with one of Rado's quirkier vintage dial designs, reimagined only slightly for modern taste. The central surface exhibits a gray sunray pattern and dome treatment that combine to give this model a bit more of a fume or gradient effect, darkening from the brighter center to the periphery, where we find the secondary 24-hour scale utilized along with the bezel to provide this model's hidden talent. In terms of operation, one needs only to rotate the bezel to align a city representing your current time zone with the current time read from the 24-hour scale, at which point the time around the world can easily be read again from the 24-hour track. It's definitely not a world timer as we've come to expect in terms of movement complication, but it is a clever workaround that does provide at least a measure of utility in the real world as well as some charm. Indices are applied, polished and rectangular in shape, complete with intriguing polished facets that do well in catching the light. Just outside each hour marker, a tiny circular blob of lume is also present. A set of polished Dauphin hands manage local time, with both the minute and hour hand offering the smallest amount of luminescent material that, combined with the dial, simply isn't that great in the dark. Dial text is taken almost directly from the original early 1960s model, with only Rado's very fun rotating anchor logo and brand wordmark at noon and overpull at 6. At 3, a faceted date window gives way to the red on white date wheel, again an homage to the OG model. Overall, the dial is a bit more out there, lacking the traditional minute track for precise time telling, and also being a bit tough to read given the polished handset against the glossy metallic gray background. That said, it is charming, and off the beaten path design is its own heritage and represents another faithful update to this historic model from Rado. One area where this modern version does depart from the original is with the caliber, as the 60s model utilized an automatic caliber, and this new variant is equipped with an intriguing modified hand winding movement from ETA. In view beneath the exhibition caseback, the manual winding Rado caliber, the R862, is based on the ETA 2804, a close relative to the standard 2801, but with the addition of a date window. Where this movement's going to get some change is in the frequency. So this caliber is utilized across different Swatch Group brands and has reduced its standard from 28,800 vibrations per hour to a slower beat frequency of 21,600 vibrations per hour, or 3 Hertz, thereby extending the power reserve from the somewhere around 40 hours all the way up to 80 hours. A nice touch, especially for a hand winding watch where you have to do all the work yourself. As another area of up-spec, the caliber also has a Nivicon hairspring to help alleviate the negative influence of magnetic fields on the accuracy. Also, the caliber is not going to be the worst looking movement in the world, also with Geneva waves across the central bridges, some blued screws, and engraving to advertise this caliber's adjustment in 5 positions. Speaking anecdotally to this particular example, the overpull was keeping excellent time between 0 to +4 seconds per day when testing across 5 different positions. So now to unpack looking at this Rado Captain Cook overpull. So first, just looking at some of the cons and just talking about some things that people might bring up. I think one of the things is going to be loom. It's not going to be the best. You also are getting some unconventional layout in terms of not having that minute track. The size might be too small for some. The one thing that makes this watch wear smaller is going to be that bezel. Because of that, it wears closer to a 36mm watch, which might scare some people away from this one. And also, of course, not going to be a true world timer, but does get that up functionality and creativity there. From the pro side, I would say some of the leading things here are going to be the finishing, the case, as well as looking at the bracelet. I love the Beads of Rice bracelet that Rado has, and to get an additional strap is wonderful. I think this will have you pretty much covered in every scenario if you did want to have this be your end-all be-all. I don't like the extra trinkets that brands typically will throw into a package, but when I can get more straps, maybe a watch roll, this is the type of stuff I like to see if I'm going to get anything in addition to the watch. This one also just feels very 1960s. Some of the Rado Captain Cooks, I think they feel more like contemporary watches. This one is returning to form to this era, and I think embodies that idea very well. And then also with that sapphire crystal, 100 meters of water resistance, very capable watch, and getting a World Timer-esque style and design on a price range where there's not going to be any true World Timer watches, I think is also pretty nice to see. So exercise of creativity. I think the Rado Captain Cook has a ton of room to grow in terms of the future, and I think this is a nice stepping stone for more to come, hopefully from the brand in this direction. All right, well, thank you again so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. That does help out the channel. Also, if you're in the market for this watch featured here, it is available on TeddyBaldassarre.com. Full authorized dealer of 30 brands, quick and fast fulfillment, dedicated customer support, and a full factory warranty for all the new products that we offer. But guys, thank you again so much for watching. Be well, and I will see you all very soon.